Hi Tim. Hi Simon.
Cheers.
Cheers, gentlemen. Cheers. Yes. Cheers.
Can I just say cheers?
Hi Vanessa.
I don't know whether it's just because it's been such a long day or what's happening or just because it's been so incredibly moving, but I'm kind of amassing a whole collection of tissues here, which is not very professional. Please forgive me. I'm doing my best.
Hi Deirdre.
And it's a real shame to try and hang on to rights as if you can then veto what relationships they go on to have in
That verges
future.
on incest to me.
And hello to you, the viewer. This is my new podcast, so thank you for clicking on this. Thank you for taking the time to click on this. This is a new podcast series I'm doing. It's called the SPRUNG podcast. Sprung's when you're like, it's like not dissimilar feeling to love. And I do have love for all the people that I'm going to get on this podcast. So the first person I've got on the podcast is someone that I get on with on Twitter, and he likes burgers, so it's quite fitting that I've got a burger. And so his name's Wayne Lambright. And Wayne, alright, he's a really interesting guy. He's running for president, so we're going to hear all about it, just speed things up. Really interesting guy, you're going to hear all about it. He's got brimming with ideas all the time, really creative, entrepreneurial, kind of spirited guy. And we had a great chat, and I'm really excited to share that with you all. And he's bidding for next president. So it's exciting times for Wayne. I just want to say a quick word, because lots of people, you might be watching this from 4chan, you might be watching this from Discord, you might be watching this from whatever cesspit it is that people harass and bully Wayne from. Now I've come across Wayne a few months ago on Twitter, okay, just to speed this up. And I've found out that he's, whenever I see Wayne's YouTube video it's always, oh, I've been swatted. Swatting is when someone calls the police with a fake kind of crisis call, so the police come up. This is a serious thing. People die from swats because trigger happy police turn up with guns. Okay, so Wayne's been having guns pointed at him. It's been quite an ordeal. Not only that, but whoever's been doing this has also been making calls regarding his mum, who's in her 70s and is not in a great way right now. So to me, this is just bullying. Hiding behind a computer screen, bullying. I don't really rate this. Whoever's doing this, making these calls, get in touch with me. If you're scared that your identity is going to be found out, use a VPN, make a fake account, and get in touch with me, because I want to have a word with you about this. This isn't on. Wayne's just a down on his luck type of guy. So whoever's targeting him and singling him out, you need to pick on someone your own size. You need to pick on someone in real life and see how far that gets you. I can't stand bullies. This needs to stop. And so anyway, we're going to get into the interview and show some love to Wayne. Go subscribe to him, and yeah, let's go. Enjoy this. Hello Wayne, it's good to meet at last. How you doing?
Oscar, it's a pleasure to meet you finally after all this time.
Yeah, likewise. So I actually just stumbled across you. I can't remember what it was I put on the Twitter search, but I came across you by complete happen chance. And obviously most people you follow on Twitter are pretty kind of run-of-the-mill boring people. You immediately struck me with some of your kind of gravity control ideas and the bidding for president. So would you like to kind of introduce yourself and tell people a bit about yourself?
Thank you, Oscar. Well, I'm age 54, and I'm a weird guy, actually. I'm an early internet pioneer. I'm a self-taught programmer. I'm a shut-in. I'm a 6'2" guy. I was a water polo player, and women find me handsome.
That's it.
Women were never a trouble in my life. So I had a lot of women, and which I didn't know that was hard for most men. And I basically am a curious guy about things like engineering. My Jewish grandpa is an electrical engineer, but my other grandpa is a mechanical engineer, but not licensed. So I grew up with both disciplines of engineering being thrown at me. So I grew up as an engineer's protege, is what I will say. And then I'm a student of Nikola Tesla, this weird enigma of a person that is mostly kind of obscured from history. And the more they push him away, the more you want to learn about this person, because our whole life does revolve around Nikola Tesla.
And I was just going to say, you mentioned your two grandparents. Would you say it's them that kind of instilled your kind of love of learning and your lust for life?
Absolutely. Like, I didn't finish college that I paid for myself. However, my Jewish grandpa, the mechanical engineer, encouraged me to finish college. And he's like, Wayne, you should buy a house. And he actually, his birthday is December 12th this year, and he's 87, but he just died. So he just passed away. So he really was a huge influence on me. And I got robbed. I was supposed to receive, as well as my brother, $400,000 each, and we just both got robbed of our inheritance by my aunt, his only daughter. Which was my father's stepsister, half sister. And I think it's because I'm running for president.
Do you think that that's where this kind of...
she's mad at me for telling the world that my father raped her. I mean, this is it's hard for people to hear this, that a person got raped. But my dad did rape his sister.
Yeah.
And I think she's bitter that I spilled the beans. Well, bitch, you shouldn't have told me.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear all that, Wayne, man, and I have listened to some of your videos where you talk about it. So, with regards to the inheritance, now you said that you've got a small few drops of that. Is there any chance you can?
I got $2,500.
Is there any chance you could challenge that going forward, or is that all signed off and done and dusted now, type of thing?
It's I have the $2,500 is still sitting in the bank account, and I'm going to use $1,000 to build a small shelter for myself to keep myself warm and cool during the different extremes of where I'm living. I'm living in the desert where it gets to be 50 Celsius, which is 120 degrees in the summer.
Wow.
It's the hot that's a bitch.
So is it more the...
And
Go on, Rick. I was just going to say, is it more the hot summers than the cold winters that get to you then?
It's the hot summers that I can't deal with. My thinking stops. Literally, I can't think. It's comical. You're alive and you're breathing, and you can, for the most part, you can think normally, but you can't do anything. You're like, it's so hot. It's so hot. It's so hot.
Do you reckon as the years roll by, you might be able to kind of acclimatise to that and adapt a bit, or do you reckon that's always going to be pretty...
Absolutely. I completely acclimatized to it just this last year, because I was born in Southern California, just about 150 miles away from here. It doesn't get as hot. It gets to be about 105 max. And this place is 115 to 120. And I've never liked the heat. I have always hated the heat. However, I surprised myself that I could withstand the heat. And at about 100 degrees, previously, I'm like, I'm going to die. I can't do anything. And then last summer, at 100 degrees, I was like, no big deal, bitch. I'm fine.
Hats off to you for that, Wayne. But obviously, it wouldn't be a Wayne Lambright interview if we didn't talk about the kind of bidding for president and some of your kind of manifesto, if you will, and your points that you want to get across to people.
No need to rush it, man.
No, I hear you.
I got 1 or 2, 3 hours for you here, because I'm such a strong individual. I think I fear the average citizen, the average American, and the people who are in charge. So I don't believe that voting is normal. I don't believe that the populace actually get to vote their will. I believe that they're controlled people, and the people who control them want to control how they think, and then they don't want them to think beyond what is reasonable. So a guy who can live in the desert in kind of like, you know, it's not normal conditions. I live in a shack and with no air conditioning. I mean, I have my solar electricity, which has been expanded because now I have 4,500 watts from 1,900 watts.
Mm-hmm.
The other watts are not connected. I got 2 Mercedes-Benz. I got 2 KTMs. So I'm not a bum.
Yeah.
I'm actually an engineer who got ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
My previous landlord was a drug dealer. His name's Phil Tymon. He's actually a bastard. But the local government doesn't want to bust him for his crimes. So, like, America is like the hugest fiefdom. It's fucking America. It's fucking amazing.
Why?
I've been to England.
Go on,
By the
sorry.
way, I've been to England 6 to, well, at least 7 to 9 times I've been to England.
Mm-hmm. I saw you tweeting that you think the houses over here are quite ugly.
They're all the same.
Yeah.
Bricks. They're side by side. They have no character.
I guess there's something about the uniformity of it, you know. But why are the police turning a blind eye to Phil's clandestine drug operation? What drugs was it? Heroin or?
No, he was taking cannabis and washing it with chemicals to wash out the cannabis into high THC concentrates.
So this Phil, the impression I get is he's not the nicest man. So what's going on in his brain?
No, he's a cranky old Jewish dude.
Who's
a college professor who's also an attorney. So he's super privileged. Like in his mind, I'm an attorney. Get out of my way. Kind of attitude.
So it's kind of narcissism that's fueling all of this, do you think?
It's super and he's also a short fucker. He's like 5'7". He's pudgy. He's nearly totally bald.
Now we're getting down to
He
it.
actually looks like you know, the rubbing hands.
Oh, okay.
character.
Yeah. So it's a bit of little man syndrome is in the mix as well.
Yeah, I mean, I actually felt sorry for him for many years, so that's why I did support him. He told me his story that people are mean to him, and they abuse him, and they take advantage of him. And so what I learned was when somebody tells you a story about their abuse, invert it, because that's the story that they did to other people.
Okay.
He abused others. And so he was abusive. He's an abusive landlord. It's so ridiculous what I tolerated, and I'm so anti-confrontational.
Yeah.
My father, within 1 month, would have gone over there and blown his head off with a shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
That's the people I grew up with, who I grew up with violence. And I choose not the path of violence.
Yeah, and I think that's the right decision as well, and it's probably for the best that you didn't kind of resort to that, because someone like that, they would be all over it, you know, trying to make the very most of it, trying to big it up to the police. And
no, he would be dead, but I would be in jail, kind of. You know, like violence. Like, I don't want to choose violence. The only thing that stops me from violence is getting it wrong and going to jail. It's not the violence that keeps me from doing it. It's the jail. So it's the consequences of the actions that keep me from it. Okay? So I'm not against fucking violence.
So is that kind of like, I saw on Twitter you put that you're quite Machiavellian. Is that the Machiavellian side of you coming out there, Wayne? A little bit?
It's absolutely the Machiavellian side of me.
Yeah.
I'm not against violence. It's the consequences of violence.
And
I'm fucking furious. I want to kill people.
I hear you.
I want to kill the people who are ruining the world. And those people, we know who they are. All right? So these people have had their reign against the world for like fucking 50 or 60 years. And We need to fucking stop them.
Yeah, I hear you, Wayne. I hear you, and I do know how frustrating it is, but even more so for you because of kind of how things have played out for you. But
it's so exciting. Like my life is. I'm like, oh my god, again? I can't believe it's happening. Like being swatted. The sheriff has been Breaker 12. We're going to Wayne's house. Okay, be there in 5 minutes. You're like, the sheriff has been here 20 times in person, an extra 6 times on the telephone. The sheriff is coming to my home all these times. Wayne Lambright, can you come out with your hands up? If I don't come up with my hands up, I'm going to be shot to fucking death.
But the people that are doing this, are these people from 4chan or Kiwi Farms, or is it Phil? Who are you thinking?
You know, there's a federal agency that I was talking to. I can't mention them right now because they asked me a few months ago to quit mentioning us. And so they're working on it. I just don't know. There was this guy, Anthony, who came here in July. And he's like, hi, Wayne. And I was like, oh, shit. Some guy is here. Like, I live so far away from anybody. And just around that time, somebody said, we're going to come to your house and kill you. So I'm like, oh, shit, this guy's here to kill me. And I talked to him, and he had cotton swabs on his elbow. And he was out of it. And he told me that he escaped from a mental institution, and he outrun the police. I went into, like, survival mode, and I was like, make this guy your friend.
Yeah.
Don't make an enemy. Like, don't be like an asshole to this guy. And I told him, I'm like, look, I've been getting swatted. I'm really fearful for my life. What are you doing here? And I'm going to ask you to leave. So I feel that he didn't feel like I was against him, but I wasn't welcoming to him. So as I said, I'm going to walk you to the street, which is 600 feet away from my property. And I walked him to the street, and then as he left, his car got stuck, and I was gone. And he did a video, and they were talking about like how he had a gun in the car. And I later learned that he was on his way to kill me.
Yeah.
They told him, his name's Anthony, they said, are you going to kill yourself today? He says, I will if I don't get myself unstuck. So he was streaming. I'm driving to Wayne's house. I'm almost there. I'm at Wayne's house, and then he's walking down my driveway. So he streamed the whole exposure of my home. And that's actually very unnerving for me. First of all, to have my street address out there is one thing, but then to have a video of somebody to my home is very upsetting, and it makes me want to murder any motherfucker that comes to my home. I'll fucking blow your head off.
Yeah, of course, if someone's going to take the liberty to turn
I live 60 miles from the nearest food. I'm in the middle of fucking woods. I'm in the middle of fucking nowhere. I live down the end of a 10-mile road. My nearest neighbor is 10 miles away. So there's no reason for any motherfucker to be out here.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
The next motherfucker that comes out here is gonna get their fucking head blown off. No fucking joke. I got enough fucking money. I'm gonna buy a shotgun and I'm gonna blow your fucking head off.
No, I hear you. But Wayne, don't let these people get to you, please. You know, try.
No, they're not getting to me. Look, I'm working with the American FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Yeah.
And this is going on over a year. My ex-girlfriend is a part of a family that is top 10, meaning the top 10, the most richest people in the world.
And sorry, how does she play into this?
Well, she would not talk to the FBI.
Okay.
Which is super suspicious.
Yeah.
Like, when I first met her, I was taking photos with I got a I got a super expensive camera. Let me show you. Hold on.
Go on.
This is my Nikon camera.
That's good, man.
Can you see? It's a huge body.
Yeah, yeah.
This cost $5,000 in 2004.
It's a beast.
It's got a magnesium body. I'm trying to change something here. Okay.
Well, you know, Wayne, when I see you, man, I just see someone a bit different who has a lot of people against him, to be honest, for no good reason.
I'm against the system because I don't fit into the system. Like, the system rejects me. What the hell's going on? Did you hear that?
Yeah, pretty sharp.
That's 8 frames a second. In 2004, this was the world's fastest SLR camera. Single lens reflex. And I've got some other lens. It's not the camera, it's the lenses that make you beautiful.
Speaking of things we can buy, and photos, I saw that you was you've got a whole lot of photos of Bohemian Grove. You used to work there. So what was the story behind that?
I did. I think I'm the only person in the world to photograph Bohemian Grove. I have 3,000 to 4,000 photos of Bohemian Grove. Never seen. I published maybe 10 photos on 4chan through the years. And I was judicious in my photos. Like, those guys will kill me.
Yeah. So just explain, were you like a groundskeeper, or what was your position at Bohemian? How'd you get to work in that?
So Bohemian Grove, at the end of the year, which is October, before the rain comes, and no operations between October and like February, they have a winter keeping, where they put away everything for the winter because the rain is severe. Like, where it's located, which is Guerneville, Monterey, is its own tropical rainforest, and so they have to protect everything in the winter. So it's called winterization. So I got the job through a temp agency. My father-in-law was a member of Bohemian Grove. My ex-girlfriend, her dad's a member of Bohemian Grove. I actually went to the Bohemian Grove when I was married for a party. So I got friends who are Bohemian Grove members, and it's a private club for rich people. And so I married into old money, and so I thought it was apropos. It's like, I'm on both sides of the equation. Once I'm a guy dining with, drinking champagne on Bohemian Grove, and then on the next side, I'm cleaning up the table at Bohemian Grove.
That's cool, man. Did you ever come across anything weird that you can share with us? I don't know, any weird effigies or statues?
Well, 2 things I can share.
Go on.
One, I created something called imagedeposit.com,
Okay.
which was a photo hosting service for Craigslist. And mostly for the 12 years I was in business, most of my business was providing photos for prostitutes.
Okay.
And one of the guys I worked with at Bohemian Grove just got out of prison because he was a pimp for a prostitute, and Image Deposit busted him.
What? So the feds tracked down, realized who was posting the images on Image Deposit. Okay.
And I was working with the feds.
Oh, really? You was a snitch?
I was working with the FBI back then. I worked with the FBI for like 8 years. And so I don't think I worked with them on that specific case, but they were Image Deposit busted him and put him in jail. And now I'm working with him. What? Life is so weird, man.
You'd think though, with your history with the FBI, then they'd have a bit more kind of urgency, kind of figuring out the current situation, man.
Well,
what happened to loyalty?
You would think so, but no. I'll tell you another weird situation with the FBI. friend, his name's Chip. And I lived with him for 2 years. And one night he told me I was desperate for money. Like a lot, for some reason, my life was coming crumbling down and I needed like $200 or $300. And he's like, Wayne, I hear what you're saying. And I can help you out if you're willing to suck my dick.
For real?
For real. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, come over here and suck my dick. And I want to fuck your ass.
Did you know that he was that way inclined?
No. And I was feeling like verbally raped.
Yeah, it's insulting, isn't it?
I felt super betrayed by him. Even though we're still best friends today. And I'm just joking, man. I'm just joking. But if I pulled down my pants and lubed up my ass, his dick was going in.
Yeah, but the truth comes out in jest, doesn't it, you know?
Oh, I've never heard that. Is that a saying in England?
Yeah, the truth comes out in jest, so sometimes people might kind of say something as a joke, but really there's some truth behind it, and they're just kind of testing the waters of what they can get away with.
Exactly. That's exactly what's going on. He also said he wanted to strangle his girlfriend to death where blood was coming out of her mouth.
Yeah.
Her name's Joni. He ended up marrying her, and I was best man in the wedding. So I'm still loyal friends with him, and I don't have any reason to sabotage my loyalty with him. And if he saw this video, he would say, yeah, I said that to Wayne. I was drunk as fuck.
Yeah. So I take it that you always kept that one secret. You never indulged that information to the girlfriend, to the missus.
Not to the missus.
Yeah.
I did tell him I went to the FBI, and so he's always been a little mad at me for going to the FBI. But isn't that weird?
Bro, if I were you, I'd be kind of second guessing this guy. From, you know what I mean? I'd always be moving cautious from then on, to be honest.
Yeah, like if I said some shit about you to MI5, like what side of the fence am I on?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man.
He's also the guy who encouraged me to convert to Judaism, which I did. Like, I mean, I didn't go through the traditional process of going to convert to Judaism. I just said, yesterday I'm a Christian and today I'm a Jew. And I feel this way because I don't feel aligned to Christianity because there's no Christians who want to help me. There's only Jewish people. One, my friend Chip. Like, I just got this inheritance from my grandpa. My money is in my Jewish friend's account. And he'll send it to me.
So
I trust him more than my mother wouldn't hold the money for me. My actual mother won't actually help me. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with the world? Like, people say I'm crazy. I don't think I'm crazy. Like, I don't get it.
So I wanted to ask then, Wayne, about the Judaism thing. You've converted, as you say, but how do you line up your Judaism with your kind of anti-Zionist sentiment and how you feel about Zionism?
Okay, so that's a great fucking question, and honestly, that's such a great question. So there's two types of Jews. One Jew thinks that they are not God. We are not God, we follow God's path, and that's the Jew that I am. And there's another Jew who thinks they are God, and that's Zionism. Zionism thinks they are God and that they can dictate rules and control others. So that's the separation of Jews.
And then,
so about a third of the Jews are the peaceful, non-God thinking Jews, and the other 2/3 are the we are in charge, we are God Jews, and we write the laws.
So what's the difference then? Is it that some kind of more follow the kind of oral traditions and the Talmud and the Kabbalah, whereas the other ones I get the impression are more Old Testament focused?
The way I see my participation in Judaism is that when my life went to ruin, the only people who would help Jews. So I was more joining a country club called Jews versus a country club called Christians. And since I haven't gone through a formal process, I don't get to enjoy the rituals of or traditional Judaism. And many Jews would say, Wayne's not a Jew. But my best friend Chick's like, you're totally a Jew. You got a dead cat in the closet. You think like a Jew. You act like a Jew. You are a Jew, Wayne. You need to convert. So I decided to convert. And actually, when I told him I converted, he's like, he doesn't treat me like a Jew. Like now, he's like changed his opinions and shit. But that's to be expected as him.
I watched that video that you posted, Solving 9/11 Solves the War by Mark Berlin. Yeah, pretty.
Yeah. Oh, did you? It's actually a pretty boring presentation. It's hard to get through, but if you got through the whole thing, the fucking evidence is there.
Yeah. Well, just the amount of Zionists that were kind of involved in the World Trade Centers and perpetrated it, and were in the courts kind of dealing with the victims' families and that. It was quite compelling. But what was I going to say? Yeah, I think people that haven't woken up to 9/11 at this point are really just sticking their head in the sand. And I mean, anyone that kind of can look at World Trade Center 7 and not think that that's a controlled demolition, you know, it's kind of like, what's going on at this point, don't you think?
I saw this building, which had never been hit by a plane, come crashing straight down. For it to fall symmetrically and completely and rapidly was quite astounding.
You really have to wonder how much of the truth we've been told.
Building 7 is the smoking gun of 9/11. It is the most obvious example of controlled demolition.
Steel, if it did not come down from controlled demolition, then every steel structure in New York City could fall down tomorrow from the gust of a wind.
Yeah, it's crazy. So go on, Wayne.
Hold on. I would also say that before 9/11, no steel structures ever made by man from 1855, the invention of steel, when they started making steel buildings, no steel building had ever fallen, ever. Then, on one day, 3 buildings fell. However, also, no buildings have ever fallen due to fire. So they've never fallen, and they've never fallen to fire.
Yeah, because this is what they say happened to World Trade Center 7, which went down like a few hours after. It wasn't hit by a plane or anything. They say that the fire was just building up in there to such an extent, and it damaged the integrity of the building to such an extent that it inexplicably collapsed at free fall speed into its own imprint. I mean, it's just they're taking us for idiots, and people are still falling for it, Wayne. The mind boggles.
That's a slip of the tongue of the narrative from the people who perpetrated the crime, the New World Order. Like even the owner of the building, Larry Silverstein, says, it was such a tragic day, so many lives have been lost, and so we decided to pull the building. You can't just pull a building in a few hours. To rig a building for controlled demolition with 130 columns on 54 floors, that's 112 times 54, that's 1,200 columns on every floor that need, demolition charges wired up and configured. That takes 3 to 6 months. However, it's such a complicated process to do controlled demolition. The average American is not capable of understanding this.
And also because people are just so trusting of the mainstream media, they really just lap it up and they don't think to even question it. But what was the motivation for that then? Was it the war on terror? Is that the opinion that you hold?
It is the war on terror, which was to defeat the enemies of Israel.
Yeah.
And that's going on today.
Yeah, because you mentioned that. Go on.
Things are changing a little bit. Like Saudi Arabia just ascribed to an alliance with Russia.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Just to kind of keep this moving, what is the end goal of Zionism then, Wayne? Is it a new world order?
Absolutely new world order. They're very fascist. They don't want freedom of speech. They don't want pseudo-democracy.
Mm-hmm.
They want dictatorial policy making. I mean, look, actually, Israel is not transparent in their abusive political behavior to their own fucking citizens.
Mm-hmm.
And then look how they treat Palestine.
Yes,
They're
it's
monstrous.
yeah, they've killed over 2,000 Palestinian children have died over 2,000 Palestinian children have died in the last 20 years, Wayne. And every day I wake up and on Twitter, it's more Palestinians have died, and it makes my blood boil, to be honest, Wayne. And how
mine too. And I was going to petition our government to make me the governor of Palestine, to be the voice of Palestinians within the American government. I actually, because all these things happening to me, I removed that just about a year ago.
Yeah.
Thinking that maybe that's what's happening. Like maybe these fucking
Mossad.
angry Jews in Israel are sending their anger at me because of this.
We were just chatting about it briefly before we went live with this, but have you been encouraged by kind of Kanye West kind of naming the Jews and bringing the spotlight to some of their evils in America? Or do you think it's all kind of for show, or is it controlled opposition? What's the deal then?
He's not controlled opposition. He's absolutely saying everything I've ever said. He hasn't said anything new. He's his own man. He does his own thinking. And he's on the right path, that the Jews are controlling the world,
Mm-hmm.
and that the Jews are fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
The Jews are evil. I'm not talking about all Jews.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the greedy,
elite Zionists,
power-hungry Jews who are running corporations and governments.
Yeah.
Two-thirds of the Jews are in that category.
Yeah.
The Zionist Jews are the fucked up Jews.
Mm-hmm.
They don't kill them. They don't care about innocent people. They are murderous. They're devious, and they're devils.
Kanye's done a few interviews that have kind of got a bit of attention. He went on Tim Pool the other day and walked off after just 20 minutes. And then he was on Alex Jones today, and he was saying just some things that I think would alienate pretty much anyone. When you kind of say anything supportive of Hitler, everyone's going to be alienated from you, to be honest. That's going to turn everyone off.
I actually watched almost all 3 hours of it.
Mm-hmm. And what did you make of it? What do you think?
Well, I was really surprised about his love for Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
And so, love for Hitler's here. And let me say, I have tweeted to him, I spoke to Yi through 4chan, and I said, look, if you want to be my vice president, Lambright for president, West is vice president, or West for president, Lambright is vice president.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
So I've been floating this idea of he and I having a relationship. Adolf Hitler, I don't think he hated the Jews like people think he did.
Nor do I.
I don't think he hated the Jews actually at all.
Well, he worked with the Jews, and he was trying to get them over to Madagascar, and he actually was supportive of a Jewish state as well.
So I think that, first of all, Adolf Hitler was put into power by Jewish people. He was funded by the Rothschilds. George Bush, his grandfather, Prescott Bush, funded Adolf Hitler during the time of his rise to power. So he was he also worked with he was part of the secret police.
Mm-hmm.
After World War I, there was a time where Adolf Hitler was not so much, he didn't have so much money, he didn't have a job, he was living in hostels, he was homeless, he's being an artist, and
Yep.
then he gets a job as working for the secret police for Germany, and so he becomes an agent provocateur, which is my understanding. And so then and he's also, I will give Adolf Hitler credit for being absolutely charismatic. He has the gift of gab. People love what he has to say, and he's a smart guy. So he is aspirational for political idealism, and then he's backed with money from the Rothschilds. So the Rothschilds, the banking empire with 4 brothers, and there's a brother in England, there's a brother in France, a brother in America, and maybe a brother in Spain. There's one brother, I don't know where they live.
Mm-hmm.
However, these 4 brothers in different continents who are all wealthy, fueled, funded, and facilitated the transfer of natural resources to Germany to encourage the war effort.
Yep. Well, the Rothschilds were funding both sides of World War II.
After World War I, Germany was hand-tied, and they couldn't get natural resources to build ships. You need steel to build ships. However, behind the scenes, train loads of iron ore were being shipped over because of this Rothschild connection to build ships.
And just to go back to Kanye for a moment, he said he supports Hitler, or he's not such a bit of a fan. And I'd just say, Wayne, that he's really actually quite naive to do that, because some ignorant people might like to kind of idealise Hitler as, well, all he did was he didn't like the Jews and their corruption, and that wasn't so bad, so maybe Hitler wasn't a bad guy. The fact of the matter is, I don't believe 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust, but the fact is that there was a Holocaust, and also Hitler, it wasn't just the Jews he didn't like. He did kill black people, he did kill disabled people, he did kill Roma gypsies, travellers. He was a racist, that's the fact of the matter.
And Christians.
So if Kanye's just got it into his head, well, Hitler's, all he did was expose Jewish corruption in Weimar Germany, and he didn't like the depravity, and he wanted to make a stand, I think he's really naive for thinking that. And as I say, I think those comments today will have really turned a lot of people off, myself included.
Well, Hitler imprisoned Jewish people. That's a fact. And I want to say, as a umbrella, when World War II was over, 85 million people died. 79 million. So
Yeah.
85 million minus 6 million Jews.
It's 79 million.
79 million Christians. So 79 million Christians died in World War II. And so if we're not going to dispute the precise number of 6 million, it's not 6 million and 2 or 6 million and 3. It's a precise number. 6 million even Jews died.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, it could be more or less. What? More or less? Like plus or minus? How? It could be, but we're not allowed to investigate this number. So since we're not allowed to investigate the final number of how many Jews died, it's only fair to call it suspicion.
That'll get you branded an anti-Semite. Now you can
think of the tattoos on people's arms. The tattoos don't go past 5 digits. They're always under 6 digits, which is 100,000 or less.
Mm-hmm.
There's no million digits.
And then there are photo forgeries. I don't know if you've seen them, like forged photos, photoshopped images of like Jewish women hanging from tanks.
There's also Jews who say it's a scam.
Yeah.
It was meant to garner favoritism and empathy for their plight.
Yep. And the Jewish state. But as I said.
What's her name? Anne Frank?
Yeah, the little girl.
The Anne Frank letter is written in ballpoint. And, well, so that's 1945. and ballpoint wasn't commercially available in mass until 1947. However, it was invented in 1939. So maybe Anne Frank had one of the 10 prototypes to write her letter. But that's not probable.
Well, even in this country, you get taught about Anne Frank right from primary school. You know, right from like even infants, from the age of like 6, 7, you're told about Anne Frank and told about her story, and you know it's the most dreadful thing. But what I was going to say, Wayne, is even us talking about this now, yeah, this would get us branded as anti-Semites, anti-Semitic. Now, you can tell me if I'm wrong here, but I kind of take issue with that word because Semitic relates to the kind of Arab Phoenician people of the Palestinian region. Now the Israeli Jews, 90% of them are white. They're just as pale as me.
Yeah, they're Ashkenazi.
Yeah, Ashkenazi Khazarian Jews. That's exactly it. So how can I be anti-Semitic against Middle Eastern people for speaking out against white people that are whiter than I am? And how can I be a racist against white people? You know what I mean? But this is what you're branded to shut you down, to shut down any conversation about this, and it's like the most horrible word. You know what? You're an anti-Semite. That's, you know.
Well, it's a way to bully people, and it's a way for the opposition to bully people that's working today.
And you talk about kind of people trying to shut you down. So I think a good prime example of that would be the ADL, Anti-Defamation League, and I see some of your tweets kind of calling them out and poking fun at them. So talk me through your beef with the ADL.
Well, the ADL is a public relation front. It's a disinformation system to whitewash bad Jewish behavior.
Mm-hmm.
The founder of the ADL, I don't know his name, but he owned a pencil factory, and one of his employees was a 13-year-old girl who he molested and raped and murdered.
Yeah.
Then they framed a black guy for the crime, and then they were afraid of being found out, so they created the ADL to protect him. Like, it wasn't our Jewish guy, and fuck you people, you know, kind of like.
Well, he was hanged, wasn't he? He which for the time, given how racist America was then, to find the Jewish man guilty over the black man would have been news. It would have been uproar. Would have been wild. You know, they must have thought, "Oh, just frame a black man and they'll just pass the guilty sentence onto him."
It was super easy to frame a black guy.
And so for the judge to actually say no, actually you're guilty, it really speaks volumes. And everyone in the local area thought he was guilty as well and celebrated the hanging.
That could be true. I don't know the full story.
Okay.
That sounds probably correct.
Yeah. So I mean, the ADL was founded in an evil racist lie, basically.
Absolutely. Like, if that girl wasn't murdered, the ADL would not have been founded. And then they morphed themselves into this victim. It's the business of victimhood.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, we're such victims. Somebody says they don't like Jews.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're gonna destroy their life.
Yeah, cancel culture.
Give me a fucking break.
Cancel culture.
Give me a fucking break.
No, but I do like. Go on.
What's his name? Greenblatt. Jonathan Greenblatt is the CEO. He also looks like a rat.
Yeah, I saw your tweets.
He's a devious looking character. He's spineless. He's not interested in any fair conversation. If you'll notice, he's not in the media.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want to tell his story because they know his story is full of bullshit.
Mm.
He's just a piece of shit.
He does make TV appearances, though. I do see his on. Does he not? He's always got his little input.
On Zionist media.
Yeah.
A few of his pals will give him television, but he's a big piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
A huge piece of shit. The world would never miss him if he died.
I understand your frustration and these. You know what I mean? It does. anger me much the same way. Speaking of tweets, Wayne, I also saw, I've also been seeing that you're kind of in the on a lighter note, you're in the market for a woman, and someone akin to Sarah Silverman would be up your street.
Oh my God, I love her face. She's got the perfect small nose. She's got little nostrils. I mean, to be superficial, I think she's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think there's another actress, Linda Carter, who was Wonder Woman, is beautiful. I like the brown hair.
Brunettes.
Yeah, brunettes, yeah. I mean, blonde women are nice, but I find brunettes more attractive. I had a girlfriend with huge boobs. Huge boobs you don't want because the woman has back problems.
Yeah, I've heard things like that.
Medium-sized boobs are nice. And like D's are fine.
Yeah.
Triple D's, no, this is too much. It hurts the back.
I was thinking, who would be a good wife for Wayne? Who could I see him matched with? And I was thinking, Helena Bonham Carter.
No, I don't know.
Okay, so she's like, I think she's in Harry Potter movies. She's like got really like frizzy hair. She's really kind of eccentric and quirky. And I was thinking like, with your energy, opposites attract. Someone who could give you a bit of a run for your money.
Well, that could be good. What's her name? The singer, Taylor Swift.
Okay.
She's Jewish.
Is she? I didn't know.
She is, yeah. Taylor Swift is beautiful. I also like the comedian. She's pretty chubby. I don't mind. I like chubby women. There's a point where chubby women become fat.
Yeah, of course.
And it's not that I don't mind the fat. It's just you can't move them. When you're having sex with them, you have to move them around to fuck them. It's because they're too heavy. So there's a point where chubby women become too heavy.
No, I hear that. No, there are some pretty fat girls, man. But for me, I'm more just concerned and broken-hearted for them because I know that that's not healthy, And you don't want to be spending time constantly worrying about someone's, health. And often when someone puts on that much weight as well, there's kind of mental health issues going on there as well.
It is that, like if, look at today's fat women. Women become more fat than men. Like they're nearly twice as fat. And so I don't want to date a woman who's super obese. And it took them many years to grow that fat body, and it's going to take them many years to lose that fat body through discipline.
Mm-hmm.
One thing they don't have, which is why they got fat. They can't control their eating or their alcoholism. Most of them are alcoholics or sugarholics. And they were not willing to basically face how they got there.
Okay, Wayne, just because it's getting a bit late, I don't want to keep this going on too long, but I did want to give you the opportunity just to explain about your running for president and your manifesto and your vision for the future of America.
That's a pleasure. Thank you. And by the way, we were supposed to be talking about gravity control.
By all means, bring it into the conversation because I know that that's something you're really passionate about as well.
Let's add some more minutes to the conversation after why I'm running for president.
Cool, let's go.
All right, so I am running for president of the United States, and this was I'm 54 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, 42 years ago, I made this choice when I was 12 years old. My dad told me I could be president, and so in my mind, I always thought I should be running for president. It's actually pretty crazy. However, my whole life, I've been thinking about what I would do as president. So I have always followed world politics. I followed military politics. I've tried to analyze the world. I'm a student of Sun Tzu, Art of War, which is 3,000 years old. And if you understand Sun Tzu, Art of War, you will understand why the world does what it does. There's other philosophies that will help you. This is the best. So, when Donald Trump was running, and I got fired from Safeway for not sucking a bag of dicks.
Yep, iconic.
I was like, what do I have to lose? I need to run for president now. This is the perfect chance for me to gain publicity for being a poor guy with head smarts, and I could get somewhere with this. And I did. Like, I think I'm an internet sensation on 4chan. People love me. People hate me. People don't understand me. People are quick to react and call me a fool or stupid. However, I'm not. Like, I have a huge history of success and a very popular thing. Like running, I created Image Deposit, a photo hosting service for Craigslist. I had 220,000 customers running on my servers, my SQL Server 2005 that I programmed. I programmed all the web pages. I managed all the photos. I managed the whole thing. I was the biggest provider. So basically, Image Deposit was the biggest prostitute website because all my 90% of my customers were prostitutes serving images on erotic services.
Yeah.
So I was like Larry Flint, publisher of Hustler. And I actually love Larry Flint for his freedom of speech. And so I was not against having nude images of women, so I was the only commercial service that allowed nude images for pay. The only one in the world, and that's why I flourished through Craigslist. And then an attorney general in South Carolina said, we cannot have prostitute ads. Meanwhile, he's flying to Argentina having sex with a prostitute, his mistress, while he's married. True story. So then Craigslist got worried he was going to get in trouble and shut down Image Deposit, and that killed my business.
Yeah. So then, leading on to the present day, as you were saying, kind of like...
Well, running for president is something I always plan to do, and it's something I think I would be great at, which is I'm a salesman for Americans. I'm a peacemaker. I'm a deal maker. I will listen to both sides of the aisle, Republicans and Democrats. People have pain and suffering, and to be a president is to translate the pain and suffering into political solutions. In addition, I offer technological advancements unknown to man. Like, my technology would bring the world 500 to 1,000 years into the future. Gravity control is motherfucking real. Like, I don't know if you've seen the video of anti-gravity flying, if I shared it with you, but a guy in Russia figured it out. He has a little metal dish, like a pizza dish, flying in his living room. And that's what inspired me, because on the floor, I saw a Tesla coil. I'm like, oh, that's what it is. It's high voltage. High voltage magnetism is what cracked the code for me. I always was suspicious that gravity was actually electromagnetism. I didn't know where the electric power came from. It was my suspicion, because electromagnetism is a magnitude much greater than magnetism with 30 zeros behind it. It's infinite in its capability. Like, the human brain can almost not comprehend how powerful magnetism is. You need to really think about it as the most powerful thing in the universe. So all the planets that we see in the sky, their iron core is inducing electricity from a local sun, which is a plasma discharge. It's an electrical discharge creating a magnetic field, which is not bringing them together, but separating them. The sun has a charge going and then the planet has a charge going. And so based on the iron core is the distance. Less iron core closer, bigger iron core further away. Meanwhile, they're inducing electricity, which makes the magnetic field exist, which is the repulsion. So part of Einstein's equation of mass is correct. I'm not good at equations, but I would say the mass of a star times electrical induction. And then that, whatever that answer is, the field generated is the repulsion from other magnetic fields. So anti-gravity is not only electrical induction, but it's spin stabilization. So UFOs spin because they don't want to tip over. If they're not spinning, they'll tip over.
It sounds all promising to me, Wayne, and I wish you the best of luck kind of bringing this to fruition and bringing this to the market. And should you be able to bring it to the market, how do you I think you've said that this is like a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Multi-trillion.
Trillion.
I did math, and that the airplane industry, so I Googled how much industry makes per year, and I totaled it up, and it's $15.1 trillion. Ships, airplanes, cars, vacations, railroad. I didn't do motorcycles. But that's how much the industry makes selling their shit. It's probably even bigger than 15 trillion because it would promote more commerce, because the commerce would happen quicker. It wouldn't be like 3 weeks on the ocean. It would be 30 minutes on the ocean as it flies over. So the speed of commerce would increase, which would lower manufacturing. It would lower shipping cost. So it would increase profits, and that would lower prices, and more people would buy things, which would increase production.
Sick. I'm looking forward to seeing the future of gravity control, Wayne.
I am living a weird life on purpose. So I'm not living in the desert suffering because, I'm doing this on purpose. I could have chosen a different path. I could have kissed my girlfriend's ass and be living in West Hollywood.
The easy way out.
I could have changed a lot of situations in my life. I chose this path so I could invent and deliver to the world working anti-gravity. I have a video of another man working anti-gravity from Russia 2 or 3 years, well, it's 3 years ago. So if he can do it, I can do it. And that's why I'm doing this.
Brilliant. And Wayne, I'm going to leave the last word to you, but if you wanted to say a message to all your supporters, and also a message to all of your haters as well, what would you say?
Well, to my haters, I want to say, honestly, you're just jealous of how smart I am. You're jealous that I exude so much power from my fingertips. I would encourage you to get a fucking life. Like these people in do-it-yourself at 4chan, you guys, you're unbelievably negative. Nothing is possible with the right attitude, anything is possible in the world. And with the wrong attitude, nothing is possible in the world. So they've got the wrong attitude and nothing's possible. And I've got the right attitude that anything is possible. And do-it-yourself is a place for people who don't know how to do it themselves, and they're coming to learn from guys like me.
Who do?
I take my own personal initiative, my own money, my own resources, and I attempt to build things, and I hope for success, and I share the journey with you. I share the risk of public scorn. They do not. They are bastards. They're fucking evil people who speak ill of me. And to my supporters, I would say, please donate any amount of $5 or $10 if you could. Everything helps. I have to drive to town 60 miles. It's $30 in fuel to go get food.
Yeah.
And I get on food stamps. And I'm only asking for support until I get myself some type of renewable income. I'm also in a good place right now. I got $2,500, so I'm actually good for the next 6 months to a year. However, I still could use any support is great. It helps me make my life better. I mean, it's cold at night. It was 41 degrees last night. I'm sleeping in sleeping bags. I don't have running water. It's difficult out here.
Mm-hmm.
And with my $2,500, I am going to buy a shotgun, and I'm going to buy some buckshot, which are 9mm bullets or balls, so I can blow the head off anybody that comes out here to fuck with me. I'm tired of being fucked with.
I hear you.
And, I don't like people using fear and intimidation. However, the fear is happening. The intimidation is happening.
To you.
And they're calling in swatting calls on my mother, who's 72 years old.
It's disgusting.
She's got fucking cancer, man. She's got stage 4 cancer, which is the worst. She's close to death, and she's being swatted by these internet trolls. Like, literally, I want to cut your head off with a butter knife.
No, it's not on, Wayne. It's not on, and they just hide behind their computer screens. They hide behind anonymity. These people are just the lowest of the low. Regarding the donations, I'll definitely be leaving a link to your Bitcoin wallet address or cryptocurrency wallet address.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll leave that in the description. So anyone watching this, please donate, because Wayne's already explained he could do with a bit of help, and it would be really much appreciated. Wayne, it's been absolutely fantastic speaking to you.
Oh, it was absolutely a pleasure, and we can do this again if you want.
Sounds good to me.
It was really nice to chat with you, and you're really you're rare. I really appreciate your friendship and your generosity. You've donated some money to me in the past, and that's really beautiful. That's a really beautiful thing. So thank you so much for your faith and your trust in me. I really appreciate it.
It goes both ways, Wayne. It's all love. Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll catch you all in the next video.